Welcome, everyone, to the Bear Watch Project, a podcast where two gay bears discuss everything and anything regarding film and TV. Hi, my name is Garrett. I love movies.
And I'm Oscar, and I love television. Today, we will be discussing the Agatha All Along 2-episode premiere. We will be discussing the Emmys and Pixar. How are you doing, Garrett?
I'm good, Oscar. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a little stressed, but I'm doing good.
I know, it's our first podcast.
It is. It's exciting. A lot of work has gone into this, a lot of planning.
It's very exciting. A lot of planning on your side, which for everyone tuning in, this is mostly Oscar's thing on his side. Like, he's doing everything behind the scenes. We have some great art that we have going up everywhere. It's really exciting to see. We have a great artist, and it's been fun to get this produced together.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I have been obsessed with television all my life, and I've always loved just talking about TV. I could pause an episode and make it a 3-hour event just discussing everything in that episode. So this podcast is kind of like, a little bit of my ode to love to television and film.
I love it. I don't know this about you, but what was the TV show that made you hone in on this is my thing?
Oh God, that is a lie that is pressure. With so much television and so much TV that I've watched, visually, the show that did it for me was Xena Warrior Princess.
Okay.
Because very early on, I was obsessed with just all the CGI stuff that they did. And I would never stop talking about it. Dawson's Creek on the WB for the drama. Just anybody in school who wanted to talk about Dawson's Creek will be like, but why did they do this and why did they do that? And there's so many shows from childhood. I Love Lucy was another one, which is a classic, but I would just never stop watching it. Yeah. What about you? Do you have any early on any films?
So growing up, my parents would take Netflix DVDs that they would get sent home, and they would just rip copies of them. I know, adding them to the law in the first episode, they're gonna love it. But that meant I had 2 metal luggage cases and then a bunch of those binders of DVDs. They don't really make them anymore today because no one has physical media anymore, but I would we just had endless movies to watch. So I was a big movie kid growing up. TV was something that was on all the time. I went to college.
Gotta love physical media. Sorry, I just had to get that in there.
No, it's necessary. Gotta love physical media. I hate streaming. And everything we're talking about today is streaming. It's just super fun. But I went to school for marine biology. I was not really thinking about film. I did want to make videos though, so I was making videos on YouTube. And something I realized I liked doing was I liked talking about movies. I wanted to make a podcast with my college friends. The very first one, we talked about the Cloverfield Paradox. Terrible movie. Now I recognize that it's terrible. And then I started making my own movie reviews. I think the first one I did, I don't know if it was Black Panther, when I talked on the way from the theater to my car, or Red Sparrow. Did you see that movie?
No, Red Sparrow, no.
Okay.
So just a little bit of background about me. I don't watch a lot of movies, which is why I'm the TV person on this podcast, because I watch much more TV than I watch movies. Missed that one.
That's okay. You didn't really miss much. You missed some new Jennifer Lawrence. And that's all I remember from that movie.
That's all I thought there was to. Does that have something to do with like, okay, I may be wrong here, but is that like a Russian spy?
It is.
Which is weird.
She's a everything just came back to my mind. She's a ballerina. She gets injured. The Russian government sends her to this like school to like be trained to be a spy, but a lot of it is like sexually. We're gonna train you how to like. We're gonna teach you how to get men and everything. And then she has to go do her own spy stuff with like an American, and she doesn't want to be what she's in. Have not tried to rewatch that movie. I thought I liked it. Other people did not when it came out. So I did those movie reviews. I wanted to have a podcast. I ended up continuing that podcast where we talked about The Good Place and The Walking Dead. So like TV shows is what I would like really want to talk about weekly because that's like a fun thing to do. And then I've just been making movie reviews since. And since college, I've learned what I actually want to do in my life, which is work in this industry. But I don't have money for school, so all I can do is make videos and now a podcast on it.
Well, let me tell you, as somebody who did go to film school, let me just say you don't absolutely need it. And we met through our mutual love of television. We met on social media, and I immediately recognized, hey, this is another person who loves talking about this stuff just as much as I do. And we quickly became friends because we connected over that, over our love of film and television and all things entertainment. So that is why we're making this podcast now.
We are, and it's very self-indulgent and very narcissistic. This is much easier for me to talk into a microphone and let everyone else do all the work for me. I'm your passenger princess.
So let's get into it. First, let's talk about what you've been watching lately, what you've been binging.
I have been binging a lot of TV. We'll get into it later, but the Emmys made me want to rewatch Schitt's Creek again. So I'm 5 episodes deep. I'm really worried to get into the later seasons where I know everything's going to be emotional and sad and full of gay love, and I'm gonna cry because of this past year. So like, we're gonna try to get through it. Have you watched English Teacher yet?
What an amazing show! It's hilarious.
It's so good. It's so good. Have you watched the 4th episode, the most recent one?
No, not the most. I saw the first 3.
Oh my gosh. I think the way the 4th episode ends, I'm not going to spoil it for you, possibly the very funniest ending to a sitcom I've ever seen. It's so good. The episode's about gun violence, which is very funny to say, but just like the journey that this character goes on and everything. I love it so much. It's so gay. I love just like how fully they're going into gay sex and everything in the show.
It was a bit surprising, I'm not gonna lie, but
I love it.
It was refreshing because it's from the perspective of an adult. It's not like a series. A lot of people are comparing it to Abbott Elementary, where sure, we're following the teachers on Abbott, and Abbott is a great show, but that goes into, the children. They connect with the children a lot, and like, it's a school system, and it's a very different show. Whereas this show is about an adult who's a teacher who teaches, Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Abbott Elementary because I have been seeing other people complaining that English Teacher is stealing from Abbott Elementary. One, they are 2 very different shows. Abbott Elementary is aware that it itself is a show. It is being filmed in reality. English Teacher is a drama in that sense. It is fully scripted. It is meant to be scripted. And it's not Abbott Elementary is not the very first school show. Something I love is AP Bio. I love AP Bio so much. And for me, what makes these shows so amazing, I think Abbott kind of does it not as well, are the connections that the teacher has with the students. In AP Bio, the teacher has the students are amazing. The students are supporting characters. And an English teacher, his book club and his classes, the students are feeling they're included. They are the supporting cast of this show, and they're so much fun. That's why I love them so much. I highly recommend watching AP Bio.
I have not seen that one.
I think Lorne Michaels started it, or like he was like an executive producer, and then the dude from Always Sunny in Philadelphia that was in The Hunt. Did you watch The Hunt?
No.
Okay.
Am I losing my television cred right now?
No,
is it
was that like The Hunt?
Movie?
Was that like very political? Yeah. Is it called The Hunt? I don't remember what it's called, but it was that very political movie where like, oh, they're killing all the Republicans, the liberal down the Republican. No, that's not what the movie's about. But anyways, I forget his name. Hold on.
And speaking of Abbott, though, I really, really love Abbott. I think showing the struggles that teachers go through to just give these kids an education while remembering that, you know, these are adult people and they, you know, they have connections and, you know, shit goes wrong at every moment of the day with teachers. And yeah, I really love Abbott. I love what Quinta has done with that show. She's amazing.
I mostly love it. First, I'll say it's Glenn Howerton is who I'm thinking of. That's the lead in AP Bio. Also a great supporting cast. But Abbott Elementary, I kind of didn't like season 3.
Okay.
Here's why. The week that my relationship ended was the same week that Jacob and his boyfriend's relationship ended on TV. So that was traumatic. And then I kind of hate Gregory.
Okay. That's a very strong word.
He's such a jealous ass. Like, I hate the episode when they're at the bar and he's seeing Janine just sit with another dude. And he gets so, like, out of his mind jealous and starts, like, accusing things and goes crazy. There's no comeuppance for that character. I'm glad that him and Janine are together, but I'm not into it. She can do way better than him. He's good, but he's got issues to work out. They should not be together yet. I don't think it's going to last a season.
I don't know. I think, to me, I mean, that hilarity is kind of what is fun to watch. You know, the I don't know. I like it. I will say that I don't know if I necessarily like them together all the time. I like the constant, you know, do they like each other? Do they not like each other? I'm available. I'm not available. Back and forth of it. And I think that if they were to fully be together, I don't know how that would work. I don't know.
Yeah, the way I loved the beginning of season 3 where they probably shouldn't be together. And then season 3 did not buy me into, oh, they should be together again. Because Janine was focusing on her own stuff. She was very separate outside of Abbott. They had that one episode where they worked together to try to get that kid to keep going to school. Otherwise, he's going to get held back. But I'm happy they got together. The finale was great. I loved Janine's party. I loved Janine talking as Barbara. Johnny. I'm just thinking of like the physicality in her performance, how she does
The
it.
supporting cast is amazing. Amazing. Barbara is everything.
We got Jason Kelsey season 3, so like that's the good part of it.
Yes, Jason Kelsey.
Yes, Jason Kelsey.
Have you hotter seen Kelsey brother?
The only hot Kelsey brother.
I mean, that is iconic.
It's iconic. I think I'm gonna do him for Halloween. I think I have to get the boots, I have to get sweatpants, and I have to get a Kansas City Chief beanie, and then I'm good to go.
I like your outfit today. Very fitting for what we're discussing. Your vision. What does the front of the hat say?
The front of the hat. So this is just the Stanley Cup symbol. It's my Florida Panthers hat.
Is that meant to be your like little vision diamond?
Well, yeah, the red is for the vision, like, because his head is red. So I was just like, let's get the red to match. We'll call back to WandaVision. Speaking of, I rewatched WandaVision before Agatha All Along came out. Did you?
I rewatched it 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. What are your overall thoughts on WandaVision?
My overall thoughts on WandaVision is that there is no more perfect piece of media on television ever. No, I'm kidding. I loved it. I am a huge Scarlet Witch fan. In general, I just loved that we saw more of the backstory. At its root, it's a show about loss and grief and how we deal with that and how a powered individual is going to deal with that. And especially somebody with, that magnification of power that, Wanda had. Yeah, I thought Catherine Hahn's character, Agatha, was super fun, super interesting. It's not at all the big bad that I imagined that we were going to get in WandaVision. Obviously, we all heard the Mephisto rumors.
Thank you, new rock stars, for that. Shout out. I don't think Agatha was ever the big bad of the show. Like, in my opinion, I don't think Agatha's a villain. I think very specifically to Scarlet Witch, she's a villain. But I don't see Agatha as a villain character.
I can see why you would say that, but I think in the grand scheme of it, just for just the arc purposes, I definitely saw her as the villain, right? She's the antagonist. She's the one that, our hero character. Obviously, Wanda begins the series as our hero, right? She doesn't end that way. But Agatha was the one who was trying to get in the way of Wanda's happiness or her... and in a way, I guess Wanda also got in the way of that herself.
Yeah, so this rewatch of WandaVision, I used my 4K discs to do it.
It looks so pretty in the 4K. It looks amazing in the 4K.
Yes, up until the end of episode 8. When Wanda goes to the plot of land in Westview that Vision bought for her and them, you can tell that it is just a human being in a blue room. Everything is fake. The grass is fake. The road behind her is fake. The houses are fake. Because, she's about to do her, big grief and, red projecting everything. And on this watch through, I could not get over the visual effects at the end of episode 8 and throughout all of episode 9. They just were garbage. For a show that was so original and doing everything practical, if you watched the making of documentary and how, especially in the first couple episodes, they did all the magic stuff practically and just did a lot of editing and stuff for that. For it to switch into just digital effects and you have them flying in a blue room. I really hate it. It's just a big, especially like her big finale fight with Agatha. It looks garbage,
Those are
but I
some
love the show nonetheless.
opinions.
It's very strong. Like, I'm gonna uphold the show to a standard that it starts with, and we'll get into this when we talk about Agatha All Along. How it continues that standard, but WandaVision really doesn't stick the landing for me. I think episode 9 is kind of terrible on its own. Like the very end of the show, right? Like once the villain's defeated and we're going back to the house and everything with our kids and Vision at the very end, beautiful. I love it. But all like the MCU fighting stuff, I don't like. I do like the Westview, everyone staring at her. Like that part is good. It's just the fighting. White Vision is weird. I like White Vision, but
yeah, White Vision was weird. The bow, if it's the same bow, if you replace the planks, I remember that conversation fight.
It's a great conversation fight.
It
just makes me think of Vision and Ultron and Age of Ultron. Like that's very good writing. I get bored in episode 9. Like this is my third time watching WandaVision. It's just the last episode doesn't work for me.
I gotta say, in that show, my favorite scenes are where Wanda's crying. I know that sucks to say, but I feel like Elizabeth Olsen gives such a great performance of that deep grief. You know, she's lost everything. Not only she's lost everything, she had a part to play in the loss of her partner, and she just plays it so well. I mean,
I think
we can do WandaVision for another show, but I mean, it's a great, it's a great watch.
I love the therapy episode of episode 8. Like I think that's the best rating in the MCU. Episode 8 of WandaVision is the best rating.
Go watch episode 8 of WandaVision. Let's get
till the end.
Let's get into the Emmys. The Emmys
they were so good.
In today's episode of news this week, the Emmys happened. I got to see a lot of it. I think the hosts were amazing. I just love them as hosts. I mean, thank God everyone else dropped out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Golden Globes because of who they have as the hosts. But like Dan and Eugene Levy, the way they did like the father-son pairing and the jokes coming from that, great. I loved all the bits. I loved the stage production when they had like the villain characters, the coaches, and they had that like background set that they would change. Very fun. Made me think of the Oscars that we got this year. When they did like the practical sets and everything too. I really enjoyed it. I loved seeing Eddie Murphy again. Give me everything Eddie Murphy. Because I watched the whole thing. I watched from beginning to end. And so just like seeing Eddie Murphy just come at the end made me really happy. I was worried she was not going to be there, but I'm glad she was.
What is the award that was the most shocking to you?
Honestly, best comedy was shocking. The fact that okay, here's something.
Let's discuss best comedy, because The Bear. Let's talk about The Bear for like a minute, because that was like my big thing going into the Emmys. There's a lot of talk about The Bear being in the comedy category. Have you seen The Bear?
Yes, I've watched all 3 seasons.
Okay. I have not seen the latest season. I just have not caught up with it. In your opinion, is The Bear a comedy?
I think episode runtime, they want you to think it is.
Okay.
But otherwise, it has jokes. Season 1 is a comedy. When you get into season 2, no. Season 3, very much not. Like, there's kind of it has like a scene or two that is, we're gonna make jokes. Here's where all the jokes are. We're gonna have them yell "fuck" at each other a bunch of times, and that's the joke. But it is a dramedy. It is a drama first, and a comedy fifth.
Does it belong in the comedy category?
I think they just want awards. I think they just want everyone to get awards. That's just what they put it in, because they knew they're not going to beat anything that's in drama. Like Succession? They weren't going to beat Succession.
Yeah, a lot of people follow that show. I could not get into it.
I've watched 2 episodes. It's not for me. I don't like watching shows. I don't like watching shows about bad people, because I want to enjoy what I'm watching. Even though I love Breaking Bad and I love Better Call Saul, those are different because there's like good people around them. I don't want to watch a show that's just about bad people. Like, I don't like Dune for that reason. I hate Paul Atreides. I hate his mother.
I have not watched the second movie. I'm waiting.
Get your 4K for it.
I'll stream it. I'm good streaming it.
And podcast.
So,
but yeah, so Hacks won Best Comedy, which was a complete surprise. It's a show I have not watched. I have not watched most of the award winners. I haven't seen Shogun. I know. I have Hulu with ads, and I don't like watching ads, so I just avoid anything that's on Hulu.
Okay, let me tell you, Shogun is worth the ads.
I know.
Shogun is worth the ads. Shogun is probably top 3 shows I've watched this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying a lot because I've seen a ton of shows. But Shogun was an amazing watch and deserves all the awards that they've won.
I believe it. It won the most Emmys history. Like, it won the most. It beat some random show, not recent. I don't remember what it was, but it won the most awards. My favorite award winner. Oh, also what was super surprising. Okay, we're gonna get into some reality TV. In your opinion, does the winner of a reality competition series define that season as a whole?
It depends, I think. For something like Drag Race, the host does not define it, right?
I agree.
Because there's so many rich personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they each have their own storylines. It's really based on season to season.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, because I know that the Traders won, they won Outstanding Reality Competition, and they also won for host, right?
Yeah.
So I think with Traders, it's like a very uniquely different thing because Alan, I'm blanking his name, Alan.
I'm going to say Alan Menken, but that's
no.
Is.
I want to say Alan Carr, but Alan Carr is the guest judge on...
that's also not correct.
On Drag Race.
It is Alan Cumming.
Alan Cumming.
X2 Blu-ray.
So Alan Cumming is an amazing host that sets the tone for the season of Traders.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, to answer your question, it just depends on what kind of show you're watching. Whereas the Traders, yeah.
Did you watch all of Traders season 2?
Wait, you cut off. Start that again.
Did you watch all of Traders season 2? Like, did you finish it?
I did. I mean,
okay.
With the iconic Phaedra, of course.
Okay. I hate that Trishelle and CT won the way they did. I think the season finale of Traders season 2 is terrible and very hard to watch, which made me hate the fact that it, like, overall, I think The Traitors is a better, fresher reality show competition than Drag Race. So I think overall, yes, it should have won. I think season 1 of The Traitors is more worthy of outstanding competition reality than season 2, because season 2 is just it's hard to watch.
Season 2 had more people that are known to be very kind of strategic and conniving in these reality shows.
Yes.
I agree with you that it was difficult to watch the winners. More so, I mean, sorry, but for Trishelle than for CT.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's also the peppermint of it all.
It's the peppermint
sucked.
of it all. Yeah. Peppermint really didn't get a fair treatment. They should invite Peppermint to be like a drop-in person. Oh, they did that with what's her name, right? Where they brought her in season 2. Maybe they could bring in Peppermint for the next season. That would be amazing.
Do you know who they cast for season 3?
Yes, I've seen the cast. Refresh my memory.
How do you think Bob the drag queen is going to do?
I don't know. Bob is hilarious. Bob deals with some good shade, so Bob won't be afraid to get their hands dirty and kind of make good alliances. I'm excited to see that.
I'm so ready. I hope Bob is a traitor, but I could also see if Bob makes it a couple times. I'm just thinking about Peppermint and how they eliminated Peppermint, and I'm worried it's going to happen to Bob again. I know that's a situation that Bob is not a trans person, so they're not like...
Right.
Bob will not be in drag, I think. Not to say that Peppermint was in drag. I don't know how to phrase the whole thing, so I'm just speaking out of my ass right now. But, like, I'm just worried that... I don't know. I'm just worried. I don't want the hate to happen to the queers.
Yeah. Let's hope Bob goes far.
Speaking of hate to the queers, we are going to transition to the movie news. So, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit because I have some things that piss me off. Pixar is in the news this week. IGN, I think it was IGN, released an article where 10 previous employees of Pixar kind of said some stuff about what's been happening at the company. Firstly, they said regarding Lightyear that movie did so poorly because of the same-sex kiss that happens in it.
I heard of
this. So during Inside Out 2, they tried to make Riley seem as queer, like not as queer as possible. Like take any queerness out of her, change the lighting in the scenes to make it feel like her and the girl with the red hair that plays hockey, they don't have like a thing. There's no like connection between them, which really sucks. The gay kiss is not why Lightyear is not a good movie. Lightyear is not a good movie because they don't know what movie they're trying to make. They don't know if they want to make a kids movie. They don't know if they want to make an adult sci-fi movie. So it's just a matching of those two, and it doesn't work.
Let me tell you, as somebody who have not seen Inside Out 2, and I have not seen Lightyear, the reason why I was never gravitating, and I'm not a big, I don't gravitate towards, the Pixar movies, the Disney movies, and that's not me hating on them. I just don't necessarily always gravitate to them. But there's a lot of them that have a certain kind of pull, especially from the trailers or from the press, that they just draw you in. And Lightyear, like you said, they didn't know what movie they wanted to make. I remember the first thing that I could think of was, why is Chris Evans voicing Buzz Lightyear? It just didn't make sense to me. And then And then I had to see a couple other trailers where like, oh, is this supposed to be like if Buzz Lightyear was a real person? So I think they lost basically who Buzz Lightyear was, that transition into the character, and people didn't know what they were going to go watch, so I think people stayed away.
I can get that. I see the premise as Lightyear. If it was, here's the premise as I see it as Lightyear. It is not an animated movie in the story. These are real actors in these roles that you're seeing on screen inside the movie. So it's not an animated movie within the world of Toy Story. It's a live action movie within the animated world of Toy Story. And then for me, I didn't mind that Tim Allen wasn't the... Yeah, I didn't mind that Tim Allen wasn't the voice of Buzz, because do toys ever sound like the voices from the movie? No.
I just didn't know what to make of the premise. I didn't know what the real premise was. It was just very kind of confusing. It didn't draw you, well, at least to me, it didn't draw me in immediately.
That's fair. So the second thing with Pixar, they had bad... It was a bad workplace to work on Inside Out 2. With them trying to take so much stuff out to fix Riley as a character so she's not so queer. There was a lot of crunch time, terrible work hours. Just kind of a hell for these people to work on this movie, which sucks. It's not the worst part, though, because once the movie was kind of complete, 14% of Pixar staff lost their jobs. And then Inside Out 2 became the highest grossing animated film of all time. And these fired employees learned that they are not going to get any of their bonus pay from this movie because they were fired. So it's just shitty. And I love Pixar. Pixar, like, there is Disney adults, and I hold Pixar itself to like a higher standard, way above Disney. So like hearing these things for me like really hurt. I can't believe like Pixar would think of these things, or that they would just like put their staff in this situation. It's just like really disheartening to hear all this stuff about Pixar, and I wanted to get on a soapbox and yell at them about it. So what was your hype for Agatha All Along? And then in like a non-spoiler way, how do you feel about it so far?
My hype was just the witches in general. I just love everything that has to do with witches. I love a good witch movie. I was a huge Charmed fan. I used to watch Bewitched when I was a kid. The Craft was just in those pivotal teen years, my movie to watch. So my hype was just witches in general. That we were going to get a whole complete story about witches in the MCU. The other part of it was Catherine Hahn and her portrayal of Agatha, because we got to see some of it, and this show wouldn't have been made without her portrayal, her just the genius that is Catherine Hahn in that role.
The nosy neighbor. I mean, she played every aspect of that character was played so well, from the nosy neighbor to the witch who was out to seek power, was just phenomenal. I will say, though, that I never thought we would get a spinoff. That was very surprising when that happened early on. That was not the character at all that I would thought we would have gotten a spinoff, because I saw her as the big bad, and we got kind of a bit of her background in WandaVision, and I thought, okay, I'm content with this. Now, having watched the first 2 episodes, I'm glad it didn't stop there, because she's just phenomenal. I agree.
What was your draw into it?
I mean, I'm a big MCU fan in general. Like, I was raised on these, so I'm an adult who's gone to like the early 2000s Marvel movies. I don't feel the superhero fatigue. I am here for anything the MCU puts out. I will watch it day of, weekend of. So I was just hyped in general for it. I don't have a big history with witchcraft. Like, I mean, Harry Potter is really like, it's not even that. It's not really real witchcraft in general. That's more sorcery, I feel like. But nonetheless, I have not seen a single one of those shows that you named off.
Bad.
None of them.
I feel like it's such a thing that gays just gravitate towards, which is like these strong female characters in positions of power that don't always get treated very well.
Perhaps I liked Indiana Jones.
Not a witch.
I know, but that's what I was into growing up. I like these. I never got into like the witchcraft stuff. So
yeah, I was obsessed with magic.
But I'm just hyped. I really wanted. I feel like the way that WandaVision ended and the way that multiverse, there wasn't so much like a conclusion feeling to it. And the way that Agatha All Along starts, I think, like, you get to see what Westview is once Wanda has left, and I think that is an amazing perspective that the show is giving us. So, like, I'm really happy with that. I'm very excited, because this is, like, the middle part of a trilogy. You know what's happening next, right?
They're doing the Vision series, right?
Yeah, Vision Quest. So I'm really excited.
What? Wait, is it actually called the Vision Quest? No, it's called the White Vision.
I think it was called Vision Quest at some point. I think it's going to be something different.
I think
Vision
that
isn't even his name.
I think that's what fans wanted it to be named, which would be a great title, Vision Quest. But I don't think that's the right one.
Yeah, let me just put myself in front of the camera. I'm sorry. So far so like originally before it was called Vision Quest, I think they didn't want that to be done, but like I think we're gonna follow the family that Vision has, like that whole comic run, if you like know that.
Yeah.
Super into comics, but like, yeah, I think we're gonna get Vision's family, we're gonna get his daughter. I think that will be very fun, because like WandaVision leaves you off. Wanda doesn't know that Vision's mind is in his old body again. She doesn't get to learn that information. I think if she did, it would be print. I think Vision wanted to let White Vision be removed from Wanda and let him figure out himself as a being instead of like forced into a relationship. So, like, I get why that happened, but I love Agatha as a character, and I'm very hyped for this show. I had a great time with these first 2 episodes. I think they're a really great start to a show. Not spoiler-wise, I just really enjoyed it. It's very funny. The action is great. I'm shocked we got a hand-to-hand fight in the first episode. Was not expecting that at all.
Amazing.
And I think it's a great start for, like, the Marvel television brand. I think everything did with these first 2 episodes, especially like the Marvel television logo, kind of love what they did there.
I have to go back and take a look at that, because I was like so focused on like, let me make sure I'm watching this story. I missed the logo. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. So
it's really I don't need to say anything.
Okay, so let's get into the first 2 episodes, and just for a warning, there will be heavy spoilers. So
yes, would you recommend people check out WandaVision?
Oh, you have to watch WandaVision in order to watch this series.
I stuttered. Would you recommend people check out Agatha All Along?
Absolutely, 100%. Uh, for maybe my top three reasons would be Catherine Hahn,
Mm-hmm.
Aubrey Plaza,
Mm-hmm.
and witches. If you like those three
Yeah.
things, watch this show. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, 100%.
I would. I love the horror aspect of it because there are some creepy moments, especially in
They're
episode
creepy.
2. Um, so jumping into it, what did you think of Agatha Vision?
Agatha Vision.
Agnes Vision?
Oh, Agnes Vision. Oh,
Mm,
it took me by surprise at first because I was like, wait. Uh, the last thing we know is that the Scarlet Witch trapped her in this curse and this hex.
mhm,
She was going to keep playing the nosy neighbor, right? And that is the last we knew of Agatha.
mhm,
So when we begin in this episode, we see her as a detective, right? There's a body of a woman who fits descriptions, some very familiar descriptions. A woman that was crushed and she washed ashore, or her body was moved to where they found her. In that opening scene, though, I loved Herb
mhm.
when he says, "Hey, neighbor." I just thought that was
Yes.
such a nice little callback.
Did you did you notice the way that the like caution tape was run? That it was exactly like height level of where his face would normally be?
I did not notice that.
Yeah, if you rewatch it, you'll just see like the way where everyone is location wise and how everyone is being talked to. It matches like a physical reality space. It's really cool because she's not
Mhm.
actually in the woods. She's just at her neighbor's porch. She's just seeing things differently for some reason right now.
Yeah, I think that's the fact that we don't know that in the beginning. That very obviously comes in. That comes very apparent later on in the episode once we find out what
Super
really
fun.
is going on. So yeah, this dead character, we're led to believe is Wanda. If it's the descriptions, this woman, her fingers are dark, like Wanda's were when she was holding the Darkhold. How do you feel about not getting a confirmation 100% by seeing her face?
I don't care. Like, I love Wanda as a character. I love everything to do with the Scarlet Witch. To me, everything in Multiverse of Madness makes sense. Um, I don't think we need I really don't want this to become a show. Where's Wanda? Like this
That
is
was
Agatha's
exact.
show.
Yeah, that was exactly my thoughts. I love that we never got to see her face because I feel like it would have taken away from what we're here to watch. We're here to watch a show about Agatha, and it takes away once you bring that character that people really love. We already know that that's Wanda. That's or who we think is Wanda, and we don't need it. We're here for Agatha.
Yeah. And we also don't know the timeline. Like, this is 3 years after WandaVision, but we don't know how much time in between WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness there is. So the beginning of this season could just be the day that Wanda dies, which is why the spell cracks and that we're in a different film genre, like TV genre with like the crime stuff. Mayor of Kingstown, that whole bit with the title sequence.
I loved that title sequence because it really gets you into the mood of like what you're watching, and with a quick nod to, not a quick nod, but a very glaring nod to WandaVision.
Yes, it felt like it was bridging the gap. Okay, here's WandaVision. here's a cross section of both seasons, and then we're gonna transition into the witchery stuff afterwards. And I loved seeing all those cast members from
I
WandaVision come back.
I had to rewind because I was like, wait, this isn't the actual credits. I mean, the actual intro. It's like all the names are the characters, not the actors. I was like, oh, now I know what I'm seeing. And then we get Agnes of Westview right at the end, which, based on the characters of the Danish show, right? Danish or Swedish?
WandaVision.
WandaVision, which, I mean,
I love it.
they just thought of everything. That was a very genius way to really bring back the fans that really loved that, kind of episodic, segmented, WandaVision, when they did the callbacks to those old shows, but to bring them back and be like, this is what you're watching now. Now you're watching Agnes's show.
And it felt like it was continuing. The reason why WandaVision works so well is because it actually feels like a TV show. Every episode is very different, tells its own complete story, has its own different vibe. Same with She-Hulk. I think that is like the second best like TV show that Marvel has put out, in the sense that it feels like a show and not a movie split into 6 episodes. So it felt like the way that Agatha All Along episode, we are continuing that like episodic vibe. You could turn this off and like wait a few weeks to watch the next episode, and you like still, it feels like a TV show.
Yeah, I was surprised. So let's talk about what we saw. So she's trying to investigate. She's a detective. She's trying to investigate who's this murdered woman. They don't know. They're gonna investigate, and she finds her brooch. And it's the first kind of, at least as an audience, I thought this is the first kind of crack for Agatha. This is the first kind of wake up.
Yeah,
it's like when the alarm goes off the first time, and then you snooze it.
Yeah, it was like the first thing from her actual reality that broke through the spell that she was under, and I really appreciated that. I loved like the crime. Like, I like a good crime show, so her just being a detective, and Catherine Hunt's performance as like a grizzled detective who's just kind of over it, was really fun. Catherine Hunt's just so good. Especially, we'll get into it with episode 2, but like,
yeah.
So
I was surprised to see Aubrey Plaza's character so early. I don't know why, but in the trailers, I tried not to pay attention to the trailers so much as to, I feel like trailers tend to give a lot of information sometimes. Sometimes when you want to go watch a show, you don't want that much information. So in my head, they were going to conjure up some magic, and Aubrey Plaza's character was going to come out and start attacking them. I don't know if that was just my perception. So I was surprised to see her character so early on. And kind of serve as a guide early on to Agatha. No, you didn't get that?
Yes. No. I think I know who she is. We'll get into it later. I think episode 2 kind of spoils who Aubrey Plaza's character is. Not spoils, but like hints at it. But if you know comics, and you know what they're going for. In the trailer, the first trailer, you do see like Aubrey Plaza in crime stuff in the coroner's office. So I was surprised it took us so long to get to that coroner's office, because I was like, when are we getting to the coroner's office? I know that's when Agatha's spell gets broken. I didn't know that like Joe Locke's character, Teen, was going to like start the witchcraft and the breaking of that spell. I thought it was fully Aubrey Plaza that was going to do it. So I knew that was coming, and I was kind of waiting for that. I think don't watch any new, like, I think the first teaser trailer is good, maybe the first trailer, but anything they put out in like the last month, I think shows too much.
Yeah, agreed. So when we do get that first scene with them, they're playing two detectives who apparently don't like each other. And there's some tension there. From that very first scene, we get this tension. I don't know what you felt from that tension, but I was very intrigued and confused because I was like, okay, I hope this doesn't sound as bad as I think I'm going to make it sound. But at first I was like, are they mother and daughter? Are they exes? Are they lovers? Like, what is going
They're
on?
lovers. They're exes.
I was so intrigued because there was so much animosity. There was so much tension. There was so much tension underneath that you could tell they hated each other, but there was a passion. I don't know what kind of passion it was. But yeah, I loved how they played against each other.
Especially with how, from the get-go, even though that Agatha is under this spell, she knows she hates Rio. I don't know if her actual name is Rio Valdez, or if that, because like that's what the subtitles were saying, Rio, but I didn't know if that was like, because we'll get into this later with episode 2, the TV show names that the characters are under are not the same names as their real life. Should I just say what I want to say right now?
Go for it.
Regarding episode 2? Okay, so like Mrs. Hart is actually Mrs. Davis.
Right.
But Agatha is remembering like the heart, H-A-R-T, for the heart on the paper. But I won't say what that means yet. What did you think about the introduction of Joe Locke in this show with him, the B&E?
Joe Locke's character, who we know as Teen, is introduced as these two women are having this conversation. He broke into Agatha's house and he's stolen something, and she chases after him. Now, that was an interesting way to introduce that character. Probably not my favorite, but I think what came from that in this very brief, hilarious bit was Mrs. Hart, or Mrs. Davis, hitting him with her car. And she just comes out and he came out of nowhere. I don't know why I thought that was so. Deborah Jo Rupp is amazing. She is hilarious when she's effortlessly hilarious. And
she's unhinged in episode 2.
Oh, I love it. I loved it.
I love it.
Well, we'll get into episode 2 with her, but
I fully missed that it was Mrs. Hart that was in the car. Like, you just saying it right now, I was like, oh yeah, that is where she was. Because I'm wondering what her role in the show was. I do love, though, like, it is his Teen's introduction into the show is clunky in the context of the crime drama. I think it did allow you a very cliche cop chase perp like situation. So it felt nice that fit into like the genre of TV show that they were working in. Why he was trying to steal something, though, I don't know. Did he need the locket to like awake her from her spell? I'm not so sure. But he is captured. He's brought back to the cop place for an interrogation.
The police station.
Mm-hmm.
The
cop place. Mm-hmm.
So as we continue with Agatha's kind of journey into awakening, this is why I was saying that Rio, or Aubrey Plaza's character, serves as a guide, because she's essentially helping her as she tells her, claw your way out, right? This witch put you under this spell and you have to find your way out to your real self. And then we start seeing the amazing WandaVision outfits.
Yes, in the coroner's office. It was great. I liked how she was undressing everything, and you like went back episode by episode for what she wore. It was really cool. I do think though, like I know they can't do it in one continuous take. I do wish they somehow transitioned her into the 50s without having her to drop out of frame and then come back into it. It is a cool reveal, but this is Disney. They have money to do it seamlessly, I think.
Just another man in a blue suit in a green screen.
Oh yeah. I still loved it though. It was great. I love that Aubrey Plaza is like yelling at her to like take it off. I do think she's a guide. I think it's for nefarious reasons.
No, absolutely. Absolutely for nefarious reasons. It just felt like, yeah, no, you could tell there was an ulterior motive. There is a reason why she wants you to get out of this. We don't know those reasons yet, but yeah, she essentially helps her in that way. So Agatha's finally awake. And that awakening scene was, again, I mean, the brilliancy that is Catherine Hahn running out naked into the streets.
So good. And immediately you're just back in like regular Westview. Like we know what this street looks like from WandaVision. We know that Herb Earthlinger. Sorry, Schitt's Creek, but it's cool that like everything is the way it was. There's been 3 years that have passed. I love that they committed to keeping the character nude.
Yes. I just saw an article where Catherine Hahn said that was essential.
It was giving me The Witch vibes.
Very reminiscent of The Witch. Yes. Another movie I need to watch because I did not love it the first time I watched it.
Same. It takes a couple viewings to just be like, oh, this is what the vibe is. It's a very religious movie.
So, I loved Agatha's conversation with her, where she's just angry. Here's this naked woman yelling at this man in the street, just angry. Where am I? What year is it? How long have I been in this, ridiculous town? And like, she's just, and I think that aside from the magic, aside from the power grab that we know her to be, I think that was like real Agatha she's showing us what kind of person she is, right? She's easily irritated, and we got some of that with the character that she was playing as the detective, but this is the character. She's easily irritated by things. Sure, she's just been through a traumatic thing, but at the same time, Herb's yelling at her, go put some clothes on, and she's just like, whatever. And she just stomps back to her house.
My favorite part about that scene, though, and I think I could be a fun resident of Westview, is essentially you get to have like an improv conversation with Agatha, to where when she's under the spell, I do wish we got to see some of her nosy neighbor, and maybe there'll be like a flashback or like a one shot if they ever decide to do those again. I miss the Marvel one shot of just regular day, real life Herb and all the other residents of Westview having to deal with nosy neighbor Agnes, but in like modern day. I think that would have been really funny and fun to see. But it's fun to see like, or be like, yeah, we just went along with what you were saying, and like we gave you food, we like kind of helped make sure that you took care of yourself to a point. They didn't really do anything inside her house.
They just treated her as the batshit crazy neighbor that's like, all right, well, somebody go feed her, and like
I would have loved to be like in Herb's position, just at the fence every day. Oh, hey Agnes, what's up? How's your day going?
Right.
I'll record a podcast with Agnes.
So Agatha goes back into her house. She hears a noise, and it's Teen locked in her closet.
Is she nude the rest of this episode, or does she
No.
get dressed?
So the transition is she goes into her house and then she hears a noise. She already has like a robe.
Okay.
Right. So she opens her her pantry, I guess, and Joe Locke's character is just locked in. So we get more of that kind of. Everything else was fake. You thought you were putting him in a holding cell. You really just put him in your pantry, and you just kidnapped this 16-year-old kid.
Yeah. And then she pieces it together that, if you're real,
then
she must be real.
And then we get a boom with the knock at the door, and in comes Rio in this amazing outfit. By the way, can I just say the wardrobe in this show is subtle, but is also giving me everything.
Did it give you witch, though, or did it give you assassin? It was giving assassin to me. It read
as assassin, but I think what saved it was the head covering.
Okay.
Which gave me witch.
Okay.
It was a modern day cloaked witch assassin, if you...
Yeah. And I love how her knife wasn't just a normal knife.
Right.
Like, it had character to it. I loved that fight scene between Agatha and Rio. It was super dynamic. Shocked that they did some hand-to-hand combat in this first scene, because Agatha doesn't have, like, what would, like, a physical altercation happen? And Rio didn't hold back using her. Like, it was kind of limited. She was mostly just pushing. She was really trying to, like, use her knife foremost. And I really appreciated that. It was just a great sequence.
It was,
like, from the beginning.
It was great choreography. It was a very well choreographed fight scene. And this fight scene was amazing. I mean, they kept going back and forth. You had their intensity that we kind of got at the beginning, but then we kept getting story bits, right? Yeah. We got Aubrey Plaza's character is seemingly trying to kill her, but then we get, hey, there are rules. You can't actually kill me. And it gives you more of that lore. No.
What rule? What rule, though? She just said, there's rules. And then, apparently I can't kill you. Nope. Trying to.
No, she mentioned, according to the Covenstead rules, you can't kill me. So, to me, that gave me like, there's got to be a bug. There's got to be a mandate. You can't officially kill her. There's got to be some sort of drawback so that Rio has to say, or so that Rio says, okay, fine, I'm not going to kill you as much as I want to. There has to be something that happens to her that's bad in order for her to just not decide not to kill her after this entire fight scene.
And Agatha's so good with her words. Like, I would love to know how she got so good at talking her way out of things, because she does talk her way out of dying. She convinces Rio that she should be able to get her powers, and if you let me get my powers, I'll be a more formidable fighter, which will mean you'll have more fun doing it, because this is weak. I'm nothing. I have no powers. So she wants to get her purple back. I love that she calls it purple.
Her purple. Let me give her purple back.
It's really cute. And so Rio was like, fine, you get your powers back, but also I'm not the only one trying to kill you, and I'm gonna watch them kill you. Which leads me into something I wish I knew more of. Who are the Salem 7? Is that something I'm supposed to know? before.
Okay, I am a big Marvel fanboy, and maybe I'm a bad Marvel fanboy and a bad Witch fanboy, but I have no idea who the Salem 7 are. But part of me was thinking, do I go do my homework and go read everything about the Salem 7, or even like the entire history of Agatha?
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I kind of want to be surprised. I want to see what's you know, what's going to happen in this season. How are these Salem 7 going to be divulged? So maybe for our finale episode, we can compare some of the Marvel comic book lore and how they compare with what they did in Agatha.
I think I have a theory, though.
What is your theory?
Okay, so in WandaVision, the Salem scene where Agatha is about to be burned, there are 8 witches in attendance, but one of them is her mother. You take out her mother, and then you have 7. So maybe these are like the first 7 witches to ever be killed by another one of their witch. So now they rule for like the rules of the witches or something. But like, they're scary. They're scary in episode 2. But
they are so scary.
I should be scared.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I like that theory. I'm curious to see what happens or who they really are. I'm sure they're gonna give us some good lore. We already have some good world building here.
I agree. I think the first episode does a really great job of, again, bridging the gap between the 2 shows, and then it just leaves us off at a really fun of like, I don't remember exactly how the episode ends, but I think she like looks at Dean again. How does it end?
So they're finished fighting, and Aubrey tells her about the 7, and she basically tells her, "You'll be seeing me again," and then she licks the blood off of her hand, which I love it, because to me, I was like, Aubrey Plaza gives absolutely everything. The way, I mean, yeah, licking blood is gross, but the way she licked the blood, or just the way she licked the hand in general, it just like gave such a passion.
Oh yeah, that's not the only thing she licked Agnes's before. Agatha's, my bad.
I'm sure. And then we jump into the credits, which are amazing credits as the season of the witch plays.
Doesn't she realize that Tina's still there, and then because the second episode begins where she's already like walking around the house, and then Joe Locke like comes out of the closet.
Right, but she knew he was still there.
Yeah, but there's like a point to where she turns and she's like, "Oh, you're still there."
Oh, yeah.
She like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, and she just kind of scoffs. Yeah.
So great transition into episode 2. I loved episode 2. I love that the casting is expanding with so many amazing characters. Sashir Zameda for one of them. I love Sashir Zameda so much. Her and Nicole Byers are so much fun together. So I was really like excited for episode 2 and like building up the cast. I think the humor of this episode is fantastic. Agatha has a very dry sense of humor, and it just works well because like Joe Locke is very a campy character and she's very dry, so like their dynamic works so well.
So well. She gives me Willy Wonka, I hate kids vibes, which I absolutely love. Just she doesn't want him to be there. She's just annoyed that she has to deal with this. She's annoyed that she doesn't have her powers and she has to entertain this child.
Mm-hmm. I do think, though, like, she's annoyed by him the whole time. I do think she is progressively impressed
That,
by him.
oh, I was making notes, and that was the one thing that I wrote, that she was impressed that he helped break her out of the spell. Like the way she sat there and she just kind of stared at him in awe. I loved the way she played that. His whole thing is the witch's road, right? In order to get your powers, because he also wants powers. So we're given the information that the witch's road will give you what you need.
He lists off that she's like, how do you know about the road? And he goes, oh, well, books, the ballad, and other examples. And for me, I was like, but I don't know those things. How am I supposed to know that those are legitimate ways to learn about the witch's road? Like, if that's the first, like, what's the ballad? If you just tell me what the ballad, eventually we learn what the episode. But like,
I think I like the fact that we don't get all the information at the beginning, because he says how much he's obsessed with Agatha, and he's like, I know all there is to know about you. I've done my history. So whenever he starts giving us information like the ballad, I just think, oh, I'm sure we'll find that out later,
Yeah.
And we did, in a very amazing kind of way.
Very true. I do want, this is such a tangent, but I kind of am worried that, and this is me making very false equivalencies, I think, that the way they're trying to like shoehorn, hey, this wizardry stuff has existed this whole time. There's books about Agatha Harkness. That they're going to try to shoehorn in the X-Men in the same way. Like, yeah, the X-Men have existed this whole time on Earth. Like, I don't know. It's very clunky, because we didn't think Wanda was the witch until WandaVision. We just thought that she had like powers from the Mind Stone, and that it wasn't really just like spells. It was just her like doing hand movements and doing stuff. But really, she was doing spells this whole time. Like, I don't know. It's just I'm kind of worried for the MCU that way, and how they're just like trying to do stuff that has apparently existed this whole time in this universe.
I agree with you about the X-Men stuff. I've always thought that that's probably how they're going to do it, where it's like, oh, it's just always been here. And that is kind of annoying, especially knowing who the X-Men are, knowing that they would have stepped into these, kind of big situations. Yeah. I don't know. I give the witches thing a pass.
Yeah.
In the sense that, the witches and magic tends to be more, kept in secrecy. I don't know.
Like, we know sorcerers exist. Like, there's like that magic part of it, but we never if there was a moment in no, Doctor Strange never met Wanda. If there was a moment, no, because we already learned that, never mind. There's no way that Doctor Strange could have looked at Wanda and have gone, I don't think I think it's like witchcraft that you're doing. Like, if he like noticed it sooner, I don't know. It's just me being picky.
That always kind of bothered me, especially that line in like, this is witchcraft, Wanda. This is sorcery, where it's like, I mean, you're essentially doing the same thing because you think this is bad, and you kind of outcast certain people. It doesn't never sit well with me.
Yeah. So what did you think about the house where Wanda was? Because Teen decides, after like getting the intrigue of Agatha, going down the witch's road, Agatha can't learn a thing about this person, because when he says his name, his mouth just gets like sewn shut and then disappears after he's finishes his name. She's very intrigued. So like, what did you think about seeing like Wanda's house again?
So going to the point about seeing teens characters name block, I thought that was a trailer kind of ploy to not reveal everything in the trailer. Little did we know it's actually in show, which I thought was a very interesting choice to make. We'll see what the payoff is going to be on that. But then when they get to the house, I like the little painting that they had, the WandaVision, Scarlet Witch tiara that's scratched off. I think Evil Witch. What I liked about that scene was Agatha's snarkiness towards Teen. Where she's almost like, "Oh, are you?" She tells him.
It begins
so funny.
It begins the dry humor that Agatha carried. I do like seeing, because that shows a little bit more of the perspective of Westview and how they view Wanda. And it's kind of cool that like something happened with that physical space. Like it didn't just become a house. They actually kept that space empty production wise. I don't know if it's real or green screen. I couldn't figure that out. I think the effects were better if it was, but I think it was a real place this time. And I think it's great. I love the conversation they have in the car and how she's like, "Dude, chill. You're too much for me." The throwing out the pen bit was great. There's just a lot of good comedy in the show.
A lot of good comedy.
And it's very different than a lot of comedy in the MCU is referential, and a lot of it is bits. And I feel like we aren't doing bits. I feel like it's genuine jokes.
Yeah, it's all in that characterization of, we know who this character is now, or we're getting a bigger picture of who this character is.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really like people, she's especially this kid that she has to deal with now to try and get her power back. So yeah, the pen bit was great. Teen is confirmed to be queer, which I loved, with the little boif on the phone.
I don't think that's, I think, I don't know who that person is though. Like it was just like some dude whose picture that they put on his phone. I wonder if that's gonna actually lead to something or not, because if Teen is who we think they are, which
I think it could all be a red herring and just like, which I would not be mad if it was. But in that same car ride, we get the Coven rule, or the Covenstead rules, where Agatha's trying to find a coven in order to open the Witch's Road. And the Covenstead rule is, within any 3-mile radius, there will be a collection of witchy enough people to form a coven. I like that is the rule. Witchy enough. You'll find them witchy enough to form your coven. And she explains that there will be, the way she will find out if they're magic enough is there will be a magical spark.
I love it. Like, it's great setup to like what we have to do this episode to like keep it like episodic in a sense. Like, this is our goal. We're gonna get a coven today, and we're gonna go to the Witch's Road, and that's all this episode needs to be about. And then we meet Patti LuPone,
the wonderful Patti LuPone, Lily Calderon. We meet Lily Calderon, who is Patti LuPone's character.
She's psychic. She reads them. It's a really good performance. Like, I love like the setting of Psychic's house and the way they just like fill out the character. And it's really good. Like, they don't show their hand too much in explaining who this character is. Like, when Agatha is trying to convince her to join their coven, it's not in focus, but you see out of focus behind Agatha that her bed is against the wall. Like, she is just kind of living in a crummy space where she might make some money. And
yeah, she has an eviction notice, and the pitch that Agatha gives her is, you have no other options, you know,
which is essentially most of the characters,
right.
all of the characters that she collects.
And that's kind of the pitch that she's gonna use going forward with all these characters. What we do know about Lilia is that she's a psychic. She's a real psychic. She can see the future, or see a semblance of a future, some sort of divination. So she gives Agatha her coven, essentially. She gives her names on paper.
She gives her name and a drawing.
Yes. 5 people on a paper. 4. 4 people on a paper to make a coven of some. And Lilia is one of them, so she has her first witch. She leaves Lilia's shop, and we see the crow on top of a sign that says Carter. What do you make of this crow?
I mean, that's just one of the Salem 7.
Yeah. Usually crows can be seen as a bad omen. So I guess somebody's watching.
But definitely, it's definitely one of the Salem 7, just like, or it's Rio, because it's hard to know though. I think it's Rio, but it could also be one of the Salem 7 with how you see them work later on with both.
So then we meet Jennifer Kale, who's our next witch. She is a potions witch, and when we meet her, she is selling candles to these 2 women, and Agatha bursts in.
Probiotic.
In the most hilarious way. I just love the line, the sisterhood of the traveling Kegels.
Yes, those great. Agatha's so good at playing character. Like, I love that they continued way of jumping into a different like personality, you could say, with what she did in WandaVision, and how she turns into the Southern Belle when they're getting their fortune read by Patti LuPone, and then she turns into just this like very like, she is very interruptive, the character she becomes when she goes into Jennifer Kale's office. You did skip though, it's a probiotic candle, and that you have to burn it first before drinking, FDA requirement. Like, I think that whole little spiel that Jennifer does is it's genius. It was so good.
I was just like, I was looking at that and I was like, how it's gonna burn down? How are you gonna drink it? Like, it was just so kind of batshit that
it's dumb. It's stupid. I love it. But yeah, I think Jennifer's introduction is great. You can tell that what I like about this episode, and what I was seeing complaints of, is that this episode should have been part of episode 1, but like condensed to like 15 minutes. I disagree. Because what I think this episode really does well is showing each of the witches that she assembles, how they personally feel towards Agatha, and then like the witchcraft on their own. If you didn't get this set up for each character, I probably wouldn't care about them going forward, and then you wouldn't have the setup for what their individual trials are supposed to be later on in the series.
Yeah, exactly. Each of them knows Agatha's background. They know who this witch is, so they do not want to join her. That's the last thing they want to do. They join her because each of them has no choice at the point where they're at in their lives. We already saw that with Lilia's character, where, you know, she's living where she's working in this kind of rundown place and she's about to be evicted. And we learn with Jennifer Cale's character, I love what Teen does with kind of coercing her into following them, because he uses the internet. He kind of does what Agatha did to Lillian, but now we see Teen doing it to Jennifer, where it's like, hey, you have no other options. You're being sued. You need money. You know, you're going to have thousands of lawsuits. How about you follow us to the Witch's Road and kind of get something out of it? And we also learn that she's a bound witch. She doesn't actually have powers, so that's why she's known as a potions witch.
I really like this episode a lot because we're gonna meet. We have the conversation in the where Teen tries to explain like who he is, but Agatha like, hear it, and it's very like building the mystery again. I think red herring. I don't think it's gonna be as much of a Ralph Boner situation. Love it because you learned beforehand that wasn't actually Pietro. So just his name just being a fucking joke is great. But like I enjoyed that bit. It was really good, like design, like drain him out, but then keep everything else in the car as real, and just trying to figure that out. She doesn't want to tell him who the other names are, though. She's being very secretive, and I think I know why she's being.
We also got her to. We also see them going to get the next witch, who is Alice Wu Gulliver, who is a protection witch. And she's also a blood witch, which is a child of a natural witch. Who apparently went missing on the Witch's Road. I don't know if you remember, as they're waiting outside of the Hot Topic where Lorna Wu works, there's a rat that crawls and it kind of spooks Agatha. What do you make of this rat?
I think it's another the Salem 7, or again it's Rio. It's either Salem 7 or it's Rio. I think it's only those two options.
Something keeps spooking her in the form of these animals. And again, she's coercing another witch, right? This one doesn't necessarily work as well as they would like.
I think no. I think they did exactly what they needed to. I think they got her in. She was not already in the situation where she had nothing going on for her. She had a job, and then they made it so she had nothing going on. It wasn't like, here's a big reveal, tell you about your life. I think they did exactly what they should have done to get her to join.
She was a non-believer, though. She really does not believe in this Witch's Road. I mean, the rumor is that her mother did go missing on this road, and maybe she has some sort of, animosity or anger towards this whole kind of notion of the Witch's Road.
Yeah. And then pretty much we leave from the mall to go back home. It's time for the coven to assemble. And in this sequence of every witch around, I love Jennifer's looks. Jennifer has great looks. It's all pink. I love it. It's very good fashion. They're like, oh, where's our green witch? We don't have a green witch. And they're trying to be like, there was another name on the list. But Agatha says, no, it was just Patty LuPone says it was a black heart. And Agatha's like, no, that's just because you used the black pen. I think that's supposed to make you not think of what I think is actually the big reveal of the season. Do you want me to tell you, or do I need to be surprised?
My thought is that, I mean, the very obvious is just Rio, because in episode 1, Rio tells, during that fight scene, Rio tells Agatha that she does have a heart, it's just black. So
Yes.
in my head, it's like Rio is supposed to form part of your coven, as much as you
Yes.
don't want.
Do you know the more specific answer I'm going for, though?
I don't think so.
Do you know who Mephisto's daughter is?
No, and I don't want you to tell me, because now I want to be surprised, because now you've got me intrigued enough.
I mean, you already know the name. What was drawn?
Heart? Black heart?
Uh-huh. That's his daughter's name.
Okay.
So I don't think we're going to get Mephisto, because I think Sacha Baron Cohen is not Mephisto anymore or ever. I'm not sure if that was a rumor confirmed, but like after his whole thing, no Sacha Baron Cohen, thank you very much. But we can get the next best thing, and I think that's why we've said it twice, which I think they're playing a little heavy-handed, and like we're kind of slightly revealing who it is, but we're not yet. I think it is supposed to be Rio, and I think that Rio is Mephisto's daughter.
Interesting. But instead, she doesn't want to do that. She goes to get the next heart on her list, Mrs. Hart, who's the neighbor, who turns out to not be Mrs. Hart at all. She's Mrs. Davis, played by the wonderfully Deborah Jo Rupp, who most people will know from many shows, but WandaVision and That 70s Show. And she invites her to the party, kind of just not telling her what it's all about. And Mrs. Davis is just happy to be included.
Yes, she's ready for a party. She goes to grab her purse. I like the fact that the show is very, I am not Mrs. Hart. Like, what you were doing, the right thing, very apparent that Agatha is avoiding something, not telling us why, not telling who. So just like the fact that she just grabs the next best thing. Although I do think kind of works. She has a green thumb. I don't know if that's what a green witch means in this context.
We did get that the green witch is supposed to be the earthly part of the coven, right? So
yes.
Is that enough? Who knows? It seems to be enough in this context. We'll see how Sharon Davis does in this witchy world.
I think she dies.
Oh, no, don't say that. I love her.
I think she might die next episode.
Too soon.
I think if anyone's to go, I think it has to be her, because she's not. I mean, unless she might like prove me wrong in the fact she does witch powers and she does know how to like harness her green in that sense. Sure, prove me wrong, but I think she's gonna die. And it might be Rio that killed
her. Oh,
I think. Or she'll fail her trial because she's not a real witch.
Who knows? We go into the amazing sequence of the Ballad of the Witch.
Mm-hmm.
In order to make this road appear, they need to sing the Ballad of the Witch. Mm-hmm. And they all start singing right before that. I love that Miss Davis says, "All right, so are we all doing laundry together?" Like, it was such a funny and just like such a quick line. You know, again, showcasing her comedy.
it made me think of No Way Home, and that you're just in like the basement of a house, and you just have all these basement things around you, like with Doctor Strange's mansion, and how they're in like the basement of that. Yeah.
I also got a little bit of that 70s show nod where she goes, where Jennifer says, "Who's going to sing the high part?" And Deborah Jo Rupp, who was on the 70s show, says, "Oh, I don't get high," in that very iconic kind of basement, you know, kind of background.
Are you talking about the cigarettes?
No, no, no. When they were about to sing the ballad.
Well, yeah. I thought you just meant like referring to 70s show. I don't know the show. I only know the cigarettes.
So in the 70s show, the kids would smoke in the basement and get high. And there's this very iconic, kind of the rotation of the camera going to each of them in the basement. And I thought that was I'd like to think that it was purposeful, that it was a nod to that. But if it wasn't, I mean, it was a funny coincidence, but I thought that was also a very interesting bit. And then they start singing the ballad, which I love that song. I want to download that song.
This is very good. I'm excited because I love it, and I'm very excited for more of the show. Because if you have your captions on, when the song starts, it tells you the title of the song, and then it gave a very specific version of the song that you're listening to. So I'm excited to hear different versions, because I think we're gonna get that. The way they were talking about the show is very much that there's more than one music aspect to it. So I hope that we see it continue, different versions of it.
So while they're singing this, they're deep in the coven singing in the basement. Teen is upstairs and the Salem 7 appear. And like you said before, they are creepy. Like, I love how creepy they felt. It almost gave me, and I don't want to keep comparing it to this, but like the moment where Teen is sitting down and the witch breaks in through the window, it kind of felt like that moment in Multiverse of Madness when Wanda very creepily broke through the reflection. But these witches mean business. They're after Agatha. This isn't good for Agatha, so she's under this kind of time clock.
Assuming the Salem 7 are witches.
True.
They could be demons. They were very demonic. Like, the way they were just broken beings that moved very weird. You saw them show up. Like, you saw a wolf in the street first, and then where the wolf was standing, one of the gothic figures are there, which is why I'm thinking that it's the Salem 7 that are those, like, animals. Another red herring. Who knows? And, like, the whole, like, I do feel like Joe Locke stuff is like tonally two very different things are happening. You're having like a very scary sequence happening on like the regular floor, and then you have like a very musical gothic tone happening at the same time. I don't know if they match very well, but I think the Down the Witch's Road ballad part of it is done extremely well. The music is great.
Yeah. Great sequence. We get a sense of urgency, a sense of kind of dread. You need to make this happen because if not, they're going to get you. And then it doesn't work. We're surprised that it doesn't work. And Agatha begins to kind of antagonize her coven to get them to use their powers on her for her to be able to steal them. And I love that during the song, Miss Davis, she doesn't know the song. She even mentions, am I supposed to know the words? But then as they're chanting more and more, she starts to like enthusiastically like dance and like, start to like say some of the words that she's learning. As it was such a fun sequence. Like, it was amazing.
Completely unhinged. She is in her own movie. I would love I don't know. This is just wish fulfillment, but I want like this show from her POV. That'd be so wonderful. Just living her fanciful. I don't like. Did her husband die?
She does say that Mr. Davis died. Yes, so she's alone.
Because the first episode of WandaVision.
Yes. So then the door reveals itself, and they have to open the doors quickly before the seven show up and get them, and down they go.
I do love once like the door seals and you're just in like a physical set with like a roof above you. I do like how that like happened, and then they're on the road. I love like the design of everything. I kind of hope it's not fully digital. I wonder how much actual like forest they made.
It was giving me, and going back to something you apparently don't like, Hocus Pocus. It was giving me Hocus Pocus 2 vibes. The forest.
I like, yes.
Which I don't really
I do like how the road looks. All the purple leaves. It's very like good atmosphere. It's very much like what I want to get from the show. These very gothic vibes. Kind of crazy. All the characters are gonna be like shoeless the rest of the series. Seemingly so. They all took their like shoes off. So are they gonna?
Yeah, they all take their shoes off and start walking the road, and then the credits play. And I had to pause it because there's a little paragraph in a book that they showed, which says, "Ye shall remove your shoes before touching the hallowed ground. In order to connect to the power of the earth, you must touch your feet to the soil and channel her divine magic through you. There be nothing in between, no rubber, wood, not a soul, just your soul."
Interesting. I like it.
So, and we reached the end of Agatha All Along.
We did. I'm very excited to continue watching this. It's really intriguing to see how the show develops. I'm excited that they're actually ending it in October. Like the last 2 episodes are going to come out on October 30th. I think that's really exciting. Halloween vibes throughout the entire spooky season. And then like it's not going to go into November, which I was really worried for. And I'm ready for it. I just want one episode to be nothing but horror. I want it to be scary. I want them to kind of mess with the PG-13 rating that this has. I know the TV is different, but it's not MA. It's not MA. I want them to go full horror. I need it. I really want it from the show.
I agree. A very scary episode. It's in their wheelhouse. It can absolutely be done, and it would definitely be very, very exciting. I mean, you've done the groundwork. You have amazing characters. You have a world-building story and characters, and just everyone's motivations are so different, which I love. Yeah, great premiere.
Is there anything you need to see from the show to like keep you hooked or satisfied by the end?
I want to know more about Agatha's background. I want to know whose room that is. I want to get a clear direction as to what her motivations are. What was in her past? Why is she doing what she's doing? My hope also is that we don't get Teen's character as who everyone thinks they are.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
don't
to
want.
say I'm a huge fan of that character. We
We can
won't.
say it.
So Billy Kaplan, Wiccan.
Yes.
Everybody just wants him to be Wiccan. Love that
I
character.
don't think it
I
doesn't
hope
make
it's not.
sense though. Like structurally, narrative, how does he go from being 10 years old and then 3 years later he's 16? Like, is this from
Magic, Garrett,
another?
magic.
But he's
It's
not. It's
magic.
different magic though, because the hex isn't existing anymore for him to like physically change his age and appearance and everything.
Oh, this is a heavier conversation. I could just go into how this could be possible. I
Yeah.
just hope it's not this character
Mm-hmm.
right now. Do I hope that maybe if they do, but then do they have to bring Scarlet Witch into it? I don't know. I in the MCU, my goal is to watch a Young Avengers movie or TV show.
Yes.
If this is the way they bring in uh Wiccan's character, I won't be mad at it. Uh they've sort of been teasing all these Young Avengers in all these Marvel properties in the past few years. So if this is the way it happened, I won't be mad at it. I love the character, so to see him on the screen would be amazing.
I agree. Do you think they're going to bring Hulkling in, or are they going to try to just Gar?
I think they should wait for Hulkling.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I'm gonna feel bad for. I'm gonna feel bad for Boyf when that happens.
yeah, poor boy. Hulkling, I thought was going to make some sort of appearance in Secret Wars, but not Secret Wars. What was that one show with Don Cheadle and
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion?
That garbage show. They didn't know what they were doing.
I thought that would have been a good way to introduce Hulkling in some way, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's
We'll see. We'll see what's in store for them.
Yeah. Secret Invasion's a whole different mess. But I am really excited for more Agatha All Along. I'm really more excited. Like, we're getting a lot of TV this week. TV is back, y'all. So we're gonna move on to things we're looking forward to. Tonight, the night that we're recording, The Penguin starts on HBO and Max. Very excited for that show. And then I'm intrigued by High Potential, that new crime show about a single mother who has just a very high IQ and she gets hired with the LAPD. It's giving me, it's not fully giving me Castle, but it's kind of Castle. And the fact that it's not someone in LA, it's not someone with the police helping the police.
I just love that actress. I mean, did you ever watch The Mick?
No, but she was at the Emmys. She presented at the Emmys.
Do yourself a favor and watch The Mick. She is hilarious. The Mick deserves even better. So I'm excited to see what High Potential's like. It's definitely on my list to watch.
The first episode's already on Hulu.
It is. I just haven't gotten to it. I'm watching too many other things. Right now I'm watching. I never watched the last season of Jessica Jones. So I'm watching that. I'm also watching The Circle on Netflix. I'm watching Big Brother. There's
like the reality show Circle.
Yes, I'm obsessed.
I'm really excited for everything that's coming out, especially this podcast.
Yes.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you for listening. This has been an amazing first episode. We will be back next week where we will be discussing episode 3 of Agatha All Along and just anything we watch, anything we binge? Anything we're excited about TV?
Oh, yeah. If there is something that you want us to either cover on the podcast or just watch in general, leave a comment. This will be up on, we got this YouTube version that you're watching right now, but you can also let us know anything that you want us to watch in the reviews for this podcast. If there's on any of the podcast services that you're using, let us know what you think about us and what you want us to cover.
Be sure to follow the Bear Watch Project on YouTube and TikTok.
And then where can they find you at?
You can follow me at Ion Source on Instagram. And where can they find you, Garrett?
I am Garrett_ODEN23 on Instagram. Otherwise, I am Grizzly Reviews on YouTube and TikTok.
Be sure to check out Garrett's TikTok. He talks all things movies. He makes great TikToks about films.
Yeah, and physical media. I am a big physical media proponent. On my TikTok, I'll do unboxings of things on there. Friday the 13th just happened, and I made a fun ranking of that franchise. And then I might do a Lost complete series unboxing soon, because I just got all of them.
Oh, and that's going to be exciting.
It's very exciting. I've never seen, no, I've only seen it like half of it a couple of times. So I'm really excited.
Well, this is the end of the first episode of the Bear Watch Project. We'll be back next week. Make sure to watch us on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcast. Thank you.
Bye.